The video game industry has witnessed a surge in remakes and remasters over the past decade, breathing new life into classic titles and introducing them to a new generation of players. However, not all of these revitalizations hit the mark. Some have not only failed to capture the magic of the originals, but have also sparked outrage among fans. Whether it's due to technical glitches, altered gameplay mechanics, or broken promises, these missteps can tarnish the legacy of beloved games and leave players feeling disappointed. YouTube what's good, See You Later Gaming here, bringing you a brand new episode of Top 5. And in this episode, we're going to take a look at some of the worst video game remakes and remasters of all time. Starting off at number 5, Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone. Unlike most remakes and remasters, which are typically shelved for a few years to give the original game time to catch up with the latest advancements in technology, Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone bucked that trend. The movie tie-in game was remade just 2 years after its initial release, bringing it to newer platforms much quicker than usual. During the early 2000s, movie tie-in games were everywhere, and to avoid the dreaded crunch, different versions of the same game were often outsourced to different developers, though they remained under the same publisher. This was the case with the Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone. The most notable difference lies between the original 2001 PlayStation 1 version, developed by Argonaut Games, and the 2003 remake for the PlayStation 2, GameCube, and Xbox, which was handled by Warthog Games. The PS1 version, whilst not the most visually appealing, had its own charm. It offered a faithful retelling of the movie's key moments, complete with quirky character models like the now infamous PS1 Hagrid, who has since gained meme-worthy status. The gameplay itself was basic but engaging, with simple spellcasting mechanics and puzzle solving that kept the experience light and accessible, especially for younger players. The 2003 remake, on the other hand, opted for a different strategy. Instead of building the game from scratch, Warthog Games repurposed the assets from Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets, released just a year earlier. This asset flipped reused spells, mechanics, and even the world map, which gave players a sense of deja vu if they'd already played the Chamber of Secrets. Whilst this allowed the game to be produced quickly, it led to criticism for lacking originality, as many of the players felt the remake was simply a reskinned version of the previous title. The remake, while graphically superior and more polished, was met with mixed reactions due to its recycled content. This made the remake feel like a missed opportunity, with some fans lamenting that it failed to capture the same quirky essence as the original. Coming in at number 4, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater HD. Not to be confused with Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2 released in 2020 that remastered the same games. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater HD promised to bring the magic of the iconic series to a new generation of gamers. It aimed to update these classics with high-definition visuals and modern gameplay mechanics. But despite the hype, the final product fell short of the lofty expectations set by both fans and the legacy of the original titles. The original Tony Hawk's Pro Skater series, particularly the first 2 entries, revolutionized the skateboarding genre when they launched in the late 90s and early 2000s. The tight controls, exhilarating trick combos, and iconic levels like Warehouse and School 2 became a staple of gaming culture, not to mention the unforgettable soundtrack. So naturally, when Tony Hawk's Pro Skater HD was announced, excitement ran high. Fans were eager to see these beloved levels and mechanics brought into the modern era. However, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater HD fell short in several areas, despite its improved graphics. The game lost the fluidity and responsiveness that made the original so enjoyable, with a new physics engine that made skating feel stiff and, at times, glitchy. Additionally, the remake lacked several key levels from the original games, leaving it feeling incomplete. The absence of local multiplayer, a beloved feature of the originals, further hurt the game's reception, as its online multiplayer failed to capture the same competitive fun. The soundtrack was another disappointment, with only a few of the original tracks returning and many fan favourites missing, weakening the nostalgic appeal. The developers citing that they wanted to pick newer songs so that when people heard them, they thought of this game. And it wasn't until the release of Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2 in 2020 that the series received the true remaster that fans had hoped for. This serves as a reminder that updating classics requires more than just graphical improvements. It's about preserving the gameplay, soundtrack, and charm that made the originals so great. Coming in at number 3, Silent Hill HD Collection. Despite the second and third Silent Hill games being chosen for remakes on the PS3 and Xbox 360, Silent Hill 4 was notably left out, even though it was developed for the same hardware. Meanwhile, the first Silent Hill, which stood to benefit the most from an HD overhaul, was also skipped. However, these omissions were just the beginning of the problems. Developers at Hyjinx Studio faced significant challenges from the start. Konami had lost the original source code from both Silent Hill 2 and Silent Hill 3. As a result, the team had to work with incomplete versions of the games, attempting not only to match the standards of the originals, but also to improve them enough to justify the remakes. A raft of other technical issues also plagued the collection, overshadowing any visual improvements. Core atmospheric elements like fog and lighting effects were drastically reduced or removed, making the remakes feel much less immersive than the originals. Performance problems such as frequent frame rate drops and audio glitches also further marred the experience. Fans were also particularly frustrated by the replacement of the original voice acting, which felt disconnected from the characters they had grown to love.
So, you're Maria?
So, you're Maria.
Overall, both critics and players were left disappointed by the Silent Hill HD collection. Instead of honouring two of the most iconic survival horror games, the remakes felt rushed and failed to capture the eerie, immersive qualities that define the series. That being said, Silent Hill 2 has just been remade by Bloober Team and published by Konami for the PS5 and PC, and is getting amazing reviews all round with a Metacritic score of 86%. So hope isn't lost for other games in the series. Coming in at number 2, Grand Theft Auto Definitive Edition. It's always tempting fate whenever a remaster proclaims itself the Definitive Edition, as both Mafia and Grand Theft Auto fans can attest. To celebrate the 20th anniversary of Grand Theft Auto 3, Rockstar decided to release a remastered compilation of the 3D trilogy. Unfortunately, Grand Theft Auto The Definitive Edition proved anything but. The trilogy faced significant backlash upon its release, as it failed to meet the high expectations set by fans of the original trilogy. While the remastered collection aimed to modernize GTA 3, Vice City, and San Andreas with improved graphics and updated controls, it suffered from numerous technical issues, including glitches, bugs, and performance problems. The biggest issue of which was from an AI program used to upscale the game, leading to some unintentionally hilarious visual quirks, and even ruining some specific gags. Critics and players alike expressed disappointment at the collection's lack of polish and attention to detail. The nostalgia factor was undermined by the technical shortcomings and design choices that felt rushed. Instead of celebrating the beloved classics, GTA The Definitive Edition became a cautionary tale about the pitfalls of remastering iconic games without adequately preserving their essence. Ultimately, the collection highlighted that modernizing a classic requires more than just a graphical upgrade. It necessitates a deep respect for the original's atmosphere, gameplay, and overall experience. And coming in at number 1, Warcraft 3 Reforged. Warcraft 3 Reforged was met with significant disappointment and outrage from fans following its release, primarily due to its failure to fulfill the promises made by Blizzard. Nearly 20 years after the original game, Blizzard announced plans to remake Warcraft 3 with additional features, enhanced graphics, and a polished experience. Unfortunately, when the game launched, it quickly became clear that Blizzard had not delivered on these commitments. Fans were outraged as Reforged faced immediate backlash, leading to it being review bombed for several reasons, including a graphical downgrade, numerous bugs, and an overwhelming user interface. While bad HD remasters can tarnish the legacy of beloved games, fans often take comfort in having the original to fall back on. Unfortunately for Warcraft 3 players, that was not an option. The remaster initially promised a grander and more cinematic experience than the 2002 release, but ended up being scaled back considerably. Adding to the disappointment was Blizzard's controversial decision to claim ownership of all user-generated content created within the game, further alienating the community. This was seen as a significant disrespect to the dedicated fans who had contributed to the game's longevity through mods and custom content. The graphical updates, while initially appealing, failed to capture the charm of the original game, and the removal of key features such as the ability to customize multiplayer lobbies left players frustrated. The clunky rework of the user interface was another point of criticism, as it was perceived as less intuitive than what had come before. Instead of revitalizing the franchise, Warcraft 3 Reforged became emblematic of how failing to meet expectations can tarnish the reputation of a beloved series, leaving fans disillusioned and dissatisfied. What's your most disappointing remake or remaster? Let us know down in the comments below, or give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed. And until next time, I'll see you later.
Tap the bell icon after subscribing and you'll never miss a video again. And consider checking out my Facebook page as well for daily gaming updates and
One of the most defining changes in the video game history is the rise of microtransactions, where in-game items are bought with real money. While most don't enhance skill or experience and are often just cosmetic changes, they often have a profound impact on someone's real-world social credit and credit score.